Hello everyone, this is Anthony Wilson, and welcome back to Magic Talk. Today we're going to be discussing the Jund deck, a deck I'm sure most of you have run into at some point or another. We're going to be talking about what makes the deck good, and what you can do to beat it. So let's get started, shall we? Here we have a stock version of Jund. This is what the deck looked like not too long ago, before Rise of Eldrazi. This is pretty much the stock build. Now it has some Rise cards in it, but pretty much this was the standard build, the stock build. Now what makes Jund so good is its versatility. The only staples in the deck are Bloodbraid Elf, Putrid Leech, Sprouting Thranex, Lightning Bolt, Blightning, and Maelstrom Pulse. Everything else is completely optional. What you run after that. Here we see running Terminates for more removal in the main deck, running Sark the Mad for more card advantage, making big dudes. So, because of Jund's mana base, it gives it access to a larger card pool, making the deck very versatile, very easy to adapt itself to whatever the metagame is trying to do to beat it. So, here's a list of what it looks like a little closer today. Running Nest Invader, 2 for 1 obviously, so it's going to run this. And some versions I've seen running the Abyssal Persecutor. It's a great beat stick early game, and normally they have a way to get rid of it. Here he's running 4 Terminates, and 2 Eldrazi Monuments. These are outs for the Abyssal Persecutor to get rid of it. So here is a good example of what I'm talking about when I say that the deck is versatile. Running Eldrazi Monument, you don't see this too often. You don't see Abyssal Persecutor all the time, but it has access to cards like this because of the way it runs. Eldrazi, it has plenty of creatures to feed Eldrazi Monument. Sprouting Thranex, you can sack it, and then you've got 3 more guys to sack. Running Siege Gang Commander, which comes in and brings tokens with him. Nest Invader, when he leaves, he brings a token. Borderland Rangers, after he's come into play, he's pretty much outlived his youthfulness. So it has a lot of ways to feed the Eldrazi Monument and keep itself going. Here, Obstinate Baloth in the sideboard. I hear a lot of people saying, well, it used to be Jund, just make it discard. You make Jund discard as much as possible, and you can beat it. Well, if that's the case, they bring in Obstinate Baloth. Now you're going to have trouble, because not only you try to Blighting them, but not only do they discard the Obstinate Baloth, but they gain their life back. So, pretty much it completely negates the Lightning spell against them. So, it's very unique, very customizable, and we're seeing examples of that. Here, running Obstinate Baloth in the main deck, Jund has a hard time dealing with red deck. Well, now with Obstinate Baloth in the deck, they don't have as much of a problem. It's a 4/4 body that gains you 4 life when it comes into play, and it only costs 4 mana. So on turn 4, red's got them down pretty low. They can drop Obstinate Baloth into play and stabilize, and then wait till turn 5 to play the Bloodbraid Elf. And cascade into, let's say, Sprouting Thranex, and still have the mana open for Lightning Bolt. So it's very unique build when you see stuff like this, Obstinate Baloth in the main deck to help against its bad matchups. And then in the sideboard, coming to the sideboard here, we see stuff like Goblin Runeblaster, Maelstrom Pulse, and other things that Jund has a hard time dealing with. Stuff on the opponent's turn. So, using the Goblin Runeblaster, you can get rid of manlands, mostly, or anything that might give the deck a hard time. I've seen, Mystifying Maze and stuff like that. So, Goblin Runeblaster comes in, you get rid of the land. Here we see something even more unique. A lot of people use Condemn or Path, similar card, Oblivion Ring, to get rid of a lot of Jund's creatures, just to keep them from, getting more creatures. But we're seeing here now, with this one has Grave Titan in it, main deck's 2 Grave Titans. Now, Jund's solved this problem of their creatures getting passed, and having nothing left. So Grave Titan comes in, and if you're using Condemn, they still end up with 4/2/2 zombie dudes. So Grave Titan is apparently this person's way of solving the problem of white spot removal. and moving Obstinate Baloth to the side. So it's still running the Obstinate Baloth for the discard, and it can switch out whatever it needs depending on what it's playing against. So we're seeing more of the versatility in this deck. Here, running both in the main deck. So, I mean, the deck is very, very unique and can tailor itself to meet whatever the matchup is against it. So, when you're trying to build a deck, if Jund is very, very popular in your area, if it's one of your metagame problems, keep all this stuff in mind when you're trying to build the deck to beat Jund, or tailor your sideboard to beat Jund. But keep in mind that they know what you're playing to beat them as well, and the deck is tailored to beat its bad cards. Some people I've seen in their Jund, in the sideboard of their Jund decks, they run Mind Rot for the Jund mirror match. You know, it's still the best way to beat Jund is to make them discard as much as possible. But running Obstinate Baloth still makes that hard. So keep all this kind of stuff in mind when you are trying to put a sideboard together to beat Jund. And if you're building Jund, keep all these cards in mind. Keep in mind what other decks are going to bring in to beat you, and try to tweak it to whatever the metagame is in your area, so that you have a better matchup. Well, I hope this has been educational, and look forward to my next video. Thank you.